Hello and welcome to the release of the professional and amateur apps designed by Accu-Stats. If you are a professional player or follow the Pro Tour, I'm sure you are well aware of Accu-Stats. They have been providing statistical information for the pros since 1983. The system was developed by Pat Fleming, a Hall of Fame professional pool player. The system works, but unfortunately the system was previously kept by hand. Now every player has the ability to keep their own stats using a smartphone, a tablet, which is the preferred device, or a PC. Accu-Stats has also added an amateur version. Both the professional and amateur versions are available for 8-ball, 9-ball, and 10-ball. Simply record how many balls are left on the table and why your turn at the table ended. It's that simple. The app will do everything else. It will use this information to compute the well-known TPA, which stands for Total Performance Average in the Pro version, or the shooter score in the amateur version. Compare this to the batting average in baseball. You know who won or lost the game, but how did they play? These results become your benchmark to improve your game. Regardless of your current level of play, your benchmark is what you try to improve. Plus, if you have another match starting in an hour, email the results of the summary page directly to you for later review. If you want to improve your game, you need the help of the Accu-Stats app. It's simple and easy to use. All apps are 100% guaranteed for 30 days or your money back. Now let's take a look at the apps. Types of apps. All apps are two-player winter break format. The professional and amateur version have an 8-ball, there's a 9 and 10 ball, and we've also added an APA amateur version 8-ball and the APA amateur version 9-ball. There is one app that is a one-player 8, 9, and 10 ball. This is the professional 9 and 10 ball player app. If you'll notice in the left-hand corner at the beginning of the match, you would choose either 9 or 10 ball, and that'll change all the calculations for the appropriate game. Let me go over the kind of how the layout works. On the left-hand side, where the first white box is, that's where you would put the name of player 1, and everything underneath that is what you would record for player 1. On the right hand side, where the other white box is, that's where player 2's name would go, and anything that player 2 does during the match would be recorded on the right hand side. The center section are the descriptions, and those apply to both players. Okay. The balls on break, balls left on table, and dead balls. All of those descriptions use the drop-down boxes on either side. Everything else is a checkbox. So when your turn at the table ends, you would record in the balls left on table through the drop box how many balls were left, and then you would check which description applies to why you left the table. The professional app has 60 innings. So each inning will look exactly like this. And then the next tab in the app is the summary page. This is the summary page for the recent 9-ball finals in the US Open for 2014 between Shane Van Boening and Dennis Corrillo. If you'll notice, it was a race to 13. Shane won the match 13-10. But if you'll notice, in 23 games, they actually missed 2 shots. That is almost near perfection. In the heat of the match, everybody left and they knew that Shane won 13-10. But this page enables you to go back and see what they really did. They both missed 2 shots. Shane made a good break 8 out of 13 times. He missed or scratched 1 time on the break, whereas Dennis had a good break 3 out of 9 times. He had 2 errors when it came to breaking. As far as kicks go, both of them had several kicks to attempt, and both of them were successful. Both of them played safeties, and both of them played good safeties. And you just can't remember what you did in a match, because when everything's going on, you remember the score, but if you want to see how to improve your game or what you need help on, this is where this is the most important page of the whole app. This is the layout for the amateur version for 9 and 10 ball. It's very similar to the professional layout. The most important difference are the descriptions that you use and how you record each shot. But as far as the name on the left side and everything underneath that is for the player number 1, and the name on the right side and everything underneath that is player number 2. That is the same. But you'll see when we show you the summary page, simply by recording how many balls are left on the table in the first yellow block, where that's the balls on break, balls left, and dead balls, is done with the drop down box. The next yellow block of descriptions use a checkbox, and we'll show you what the summary page. But just by recording why you left the table, and you don't know what that means at this point, but when we go to the summary page, that you'll be enlightened a little bit, I hope. This is the amateur 9-ball summary. Like the professional version, if you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's a white box, and if you'd like to receive an email of this report, simply put your email address in there and click email at the bottom of the page. Now, from the information you provided on each inning that you shot, the app will now dissect that and put it in the appropriate category. And as we go down the list, it tells you how many times you missed an easy or a hard shot, but it also tells you kind of how the match went. Like, we get ball in hand. How many times did your opponent give you ball in hand? And how many times did you give your opponent ball in hand? How many times were you hooked? And then under defense, it's just not that you shot a defensive shot. It tells you whether or not your opponent made a ball after you shot a shot. So if you had 7 defensive shots and they made a ball 5 times out of 7, that would tell you need to work on your defensive shots. It also will tell you breaking runs, 9 on the break, and then it will take your total innings, and based upon the number of times you went to the table, it'll tell you how many times you typically would go to the table during a game. Now, the APA version, it'll also include your timeouts, the match point score, how many total points were in there, also the APA innings. Things that are particular to the APA format will also be included. I hope you've enjoyed this short video about the Accu-Stats professional and amateur apps. If you would like to order, please go to the Accu-Stat website and click the Pro and Amateur logo. If you're serious about your game and want to improve it, it's easy to use, and I think you'll really enjoy it.